UK Dragonfire is an MOD and DSTL and UK industry programme to demonstrate the capability of a laser-directed energy weapon system.
Imagine you're a drone pilot for the Houthis in Yemen. You've just launched your $20,000 kamikaze drone toward a British destroyer in the Red Sea. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. After all, you know that ship's going to fire a $1.3 million missile to stop you, which means even if you fail, you've already won the economics game. Except this time, something's different. There's no missile launch, no explosion. Your drone just disappears. Vaporized. Melted out of existence in less than 10 seconds. Cost to the British? $13. The price of a mediocre lunch. Welcome to the future of warfare, where Britain just flipped the entire drone warfare playbook on its head with a laser weapon that sounds like it was pulled straight from a sci-fi movie. And trust me, this changes everything. So here's what you probably expected. Britain announces another defense project that goes over budget, gets delayed for a decade, and eventually gets quietly canceled while everyone pretends it never happened. That's just how military procurement works, right? Billion-dollar boondoggles that produce nothing but PowerPoint presentations and disappointed taxpayers. But here's the reality that'll blow your mind. Britain's Dragonfire laser weapon just went from concept to combat-ready deployment 5 years ahead of schedule and under budget. Read that again, 5 years ahead. Under budget. In defense procurement, that's like finding a unicorn riding another unicorn. And this isn't some prototype that barely works in controlled conditions. This thing just passed tests where it shot down drones flying at 400 miles per hour. That's twice the speed of a Formula One car, with the precision to hit a coin from over half a mile away. And the UK Ministry of Defence just signed a $420 million contract to start installing these bad boys on Royal Navy destroyers within 2 years. We're not talking about the future anymore. We're talking about right now. Britain just weaponized literal death rays, and the implications are absolutely wild. So strap in, because we're about to break down how a laser weapon is about to make drone warfare economically impossible, why this terrifies Russia and China more than you'd think, and whether we're witnessing the beginning of the end for traditional missiles. Let's go. Let's talk about money, because that's where this gets absolutely ridiculous. Picture this. You're commanding a Type 45 destroyer in the Red Sea. It's December 2023, and the Houthis, backed by Iran, armed with drones that cost about as much as a used Honda Civic, are launching wave after wave of kamikaze drones at your ship. Your options? Fire a Sea Viper missile that costs $1.3 million. Use your Phalanx gun system and let them get dangerously close. Or use your 30mm cannon and pray you hit them before they hit you. Every single night. This is happening. And every time you fire that $1 million missile at a $20,000 drone, mathematically, you're losing. The Houthis don't even need to hit you to win. They just need to keep launching drones until you run out of missiles or money, whichever comes first. It's the perfect asymmetric warfare strategy, and it's been bleeding Western militaries dry. Now enter Dragonfire. Each shot, $13. Not 13,000. Not 1,300. $13. That's less than a movie ticket. Less than your morning coffee and croissant. And it can fire continuously as long as the ship has power, which, spoiler alert, ships have a lot of. No reloading, no magazines, no running out of ammunition. Just pure, concentrated, get absolutely wrecked energy traveling at the speed of light. Do you understand how much this flips the script? Russia and their Iranian proxies have built their entire modern warfare strategy around cheap drone swarms, overwhelming expensive air defenses. They've been doing it in Ukraine every single night, launching dozens, sometimes hundreds of German drones to deplete Ukrainian air defense systems, force them to waste missiles, and create gaps for more expensive, higher payload missiles to slip through. It's death by 1,000 cuts, and it's been working. But Dragonfire just turned that strategy into a suicide mission. Imagine you're a Russian military planner and you just found out that your multi-million-dollar drone swarm strategy can now be countered for the cost of a Chipotle burrito per drone. The math doesn't math anymore. You can't economically exhaust an opponent who's spending lunch money to delete your drones from existence. And here's the kicker. This isn't theoretical. Following the successful November 2024 test where Dragonfire melted drones out of the sky at 400 miles per hour, the UK Ministry of Defence immediately greenlit production and deployment. We're talking operational systems on British destroyers by 2027. That's not maybe someday. That's basically tomorrow in military timelines. Luke Pollard, the UK's Minister for Defence Readiness, said this will put the Royal Navy at the leading edge of innovation in NATO, which is British for "we just broke the game and everyone else is scrambling to catch up." And they should be scrambling because this technology doesn't just change naval warfare, it changes the entire cost-benefit analysis of modern conflict. Think about what this means for countries like Ukraine, Taiwan, or any nation facing drone-heavy adversaries. Suddenly, defending against drone swarms becomes economically sustainable. The attacker can't just win by being cheaper anymore. The defender has infinite ammunition at near zero cost. That's not just a tactical advantage, that's a strategic revolution. Let's get into the actual tech, because this is where Dragonfire goes from cool concept to holy hell, that's actually brilliant. First off, Dragonfire is what's called a solid-state laser weapon, which sounds boring until you realize what that means. It uses doped glass fiber bundles, basically super advanced fiber optics, combined with a beam-combining mechanism that's entirely designed and built in Britain. No foreign components, no dependency on international supply chains. This is 100% made in the UK death ray technology, which honestly feels very on-brand for a country that once ruled the seas with nothing but wooden ships and attitude. Here's how it works. The system has 3 apertures on its beam director, and they work kind of like a really violent pair of binoculars. First, an external sensor, usually a radar, gives Dragonfire the general direction of where a threat is coming from. Then the first aperture scans that area like you're scanning a crowd for your friend at a concert. Once it spots something suspicious, say a drone trying to ruin your day, the middle aperture zooms in for a closer look like, okay, is that actually a threat or just a seagull having a really bad day? Once the system confirms, yes, that's definitely trying to kill us, the third aperture locks on with absolute precision. And this is where it gets wild. The laser fires, but here's the thing. Hitting a target moving at 400 miles per hour from several miles away isn't like pointing a flashlight at your wall. The beam has to stay focused on the exact same spot on a moving, possibly maneuvering target for several seconds to melt through the airframe. To do this, Dragonfire uses fast-moving mirrors, or FMM if you want to sound smart at parties, that adjust thousands of times per second using feedback from high-speed cameras and advanced algorithms. We're talking adjustments so precise that even tiny mirror movements translate to huge changes miles away where the beam hits. It's like trying to hold a laser pointer steady on a specific pixel of a screen on the opposite side of a football stadium while running. Except the screen is also moving at 400 miles per hour, and if you miss, people die. To prevent the mirrors from melting under their own laser's power, which would be embarrassing, defense company Leonardo developed special low-absorption coating technologies. Because imagine spending $500 million on a laser weapon that accidentally destroys itself. That would very much not be ideal. The whole system is led by MBDA, who handle the command and control using expertise from their missile programs. Kinetic provides the fiber amplifiers that generate the actual laser. Leonardo built the beam director, and the whole thing is coordinated by the UK's Defence Science and Technology Laboratory, or DSTL, who've been testing this thing since 2017. And here's what makes this genuinely impressive. Most military laser programs fail. They work in lab conditions but fall apart in the real world. America's been working on laser weapons since forever and has had mixed results, but Dragonfire went from initial concept in 2017 to successful high-power shots against moving aerial targets by January 2024. That's 7 years from "let's try this" to "this actually works and we're putting it on ships." The system can engage any visible target with precision measured in fractions of an inch from over half a mile away. It does this silently, no missile roar, no smoke trails, just invisible death traveling at the speed of light. And it takes less than 10 seconds to melt a drone's airframe into useless scrap. But here's my favorite part. Dragonfire can see over the horizon. Now, normally, lasers have a huge limitation. They travel in straight lines, so Earth's curvature means you can't see or shoot things beyond the horizon. But Dragonfire links to radars on ships, planes, and even distant networks to track and engage targets sitting just beyond visual range. The latest trials showed it doing this easily, which is kind of a big deal because it means your effective range isn't limited by what you can physically see from the deck. Think about what that means operationally. A drone trying to stay low and hidden beyond the horizon? Dragonfire knows it's there and can track it using networked sensors, then fry it the moment it pops up. There's no safe approach angle, no hiding spot. If you're airborne and within range, you're basically volunteering to become a very expensive pile of molten metal. So here's what we've learned. Britain just deployed a laser weapon that can melt drones out of the sky for the cost of a sandwich. It's going on ships in 2 years, and it fundamentally changes the economics of modern warfare. Russia's drone swarm strategy just became obsolete. China's sweating about Taiwan. Iran's proxies just lost their asymmetric advantage. And we're watching the beginning of a new arms race that's going to define military technology for decades. Is this terrifying? Absolutely. Is it fascinating? Also, yes. Are we living through one of those moments that history books will point to as a turning point? I think we might be. If you want to stay on top of this kind of geopolitical tech madness, smash that subscribe button because we're just getting started. There's so much happening in defense technology right now that sounds like science fiction, but is completely real, and I'm here for all of it. Drop a comment and let me know. Do you think laser weapons make the world safer by neutralizing cheap drone threats, or more dangerous by lowering the cost of conflict? I'm genuinely curious what you think because this is complicated stuff with no easy answers. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and remember, the future isn't coming. It's already here, and it's traveling at the speed of light. See you in the next one.